Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome into the live, my friends. Welcome into the live, which is Thursday morning. And it is, I believe, July 13th of 2023. I want to say welcome to everybody who has come into the chat. And those of you who will be listening to the reading later on today, I want to say welcome. Thank you all so much for coming. Now, yesterday we were reading we continued the reading of the book of Second Chronicles. And for those of you who were here yesterday, yesterday's reading was rather interesting, as they all are. Every single reading becomes more and more interesting. Everyone is more interesting than the one before it. And I don't know about the rest of you all, but I am certainly enjoying the reading of the Bible because, after all, guys, we need to know what is in the Bible. It is our business to know what is in the Bible. The Bible influences every single aspect of our lives. And if we don't know what is in it, how are we going to, one, live by it? Or are we going to um, encourage others to live by it? How? You can't do all those things if you don't know what is in this book. And more than 97% of us have never read the Bible ourselves. So we just know something that we were told. We have not read it for ourselves to know exactly what is in the book. And so I that's why I took on this journey to read it for myself. Unfortunately, we have this platform so that we can share, so that I can read it and share the reading with you all. And I sincerely, sincerely appreciate you all for coming to listen. And I hope you all are enjoying the reading as much as I am enjoying the reading. Now, yes, in yesterday's reading, we saw where Manasseh, so Manasseh was the king who ruled after his father Ezekiah, and we saw where Ammon ruled after Manasseh. Ammon was Manasseh's son, and also we saw where we saw the struggle between Israel and the king Sennacherib out of Assyria. And at the end of that reading yesterday, I don't know what you all got from it, but it seems to be the recurring theme to me throughout throughout the reading of the Bible. It's always you do what the Lord say or you get severely punished. You worship false gods, you get severely punished. If you go against the laws of Moses, you get severely punished. You are expected to walk that chalk line and not step off. And we have seen people step off because we have seen David was considered to be great, and David had his flaws. Solomon was considered to be great and pleasing. His actions were pleasing in the sight of the Lord, but he had his flaws also. And we have seen few wicked kings, quite a few wicked kings have arisen in Judah, and they are having a hard time. Whenever the kings arise, the wicked kings arise, the people suffer. And so now we are close to the end of the reading of the Chronicles. We are going to move on to see Ammon's son Josiah take over the rule of Jerusalem. Let's see if Josiah will be able to restore the kingdom like his great grandfather Ezekiah did back in his day, because Manasseh was a wicked king, and Ammon was no different. So let's see what Josiah will be able to do in Judah. So this morning we are reading from Second Chronicles chapters 34 through 36, and that is going to be the end of the Second Chronicles. Now get your book Bible or your Google Bible and follow along with me. Now remember, we do not endorse any particular religion or any particular denomination over here. What we are simply doing is reading the Bible, familiarizing ourselves with its content so that we can know what is in it rather than being told what is in it. So come with me, guys. Let us do this. Second Chronicles chapter 34. Josiah. Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem for 31 years. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord. So here Josiah was a good king. And he did all that was right in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the ways of David his father, and declined neither to the right nor to the left. For in the 8th year of his reign, while he was yet young, he was, because in the 8th year of his reign, that means he was about 16. For in the 8th year of his reign, while he was yet young, he began to seek after the God of David his father. And in the 12th year, he began to purge Judah and Jerusalem from the high places and the groves and the carved images and the molten images. And they break down the altars of Baalim in his presence. Now remember, Baalim is the false god, and remember that his father Ammon and his grandfather Manasseh had had been worshiping this false god Baalim. And so now here is Josiah. He's trying to do like his great grandfather Ezekiah did and restore the kingdom to its former glory. He is trying to get rid of all these idols, burn them, destroy them, and reestablish the kingdom. And he's trying to do this in the 12th year of his reign. So 12 and 8, this time he's around 20 years old. And verse 4, and they break down the altars of Baalim in his presence, and the images that were on high above them, he cut down, and the groves, and the carved images, and the molten images, he brake in pieces, and made dust of them, and strewed it upon the graves of them that had sacrificed unto them. And he burnt the bones of the priests upon their altars, and cleansed Judah and Jerusalem. And so did he in the cities of Manasseh and Ephraim and Simeon, even unto Naphtali, with their mattocks round about. And when he had broken down the altars and the groves, and had beaten the graven images into powder, and cut down all the idols throughout all the land of Israel, he returned to Jerusalem. Now, in the 18th year of his reign, 18 and 8, that's 26. Now, in the 18th year, in the 18th year of his reign, when he had purged the land and the house, he sent Shaphan, the son of Azaliah, and Masai, the governor of the city, and Joah, the son of Joaz, the recorder, to repair the house of the Lord his God. Hey, Shazeba, how are you doing? Good morning to you, my love. Good to see you. Welcome into the live. Thank you so much for coming. I sincerely appreciate you. Verse 9, And when they came to Ezekiah the high priest, no, not Ezekiah, Hilkiah. And when they came to Hilkiah the high priest, they delivered the money that was brought into the house of God, which the Levites that kept the doors had gathered of the hand of Manasseh and Ephraim, and of all the remnant of Israel, and of all Judah and Benjamin, and they returned to Jerusalem. And they put it in the hand of the workmen that had the oversight of the house of the Lord. And they gave it to the workmen that wrought in the house of the Lord to repair and amend it. Now, if you all remember in previous readings, um, remember in previous readings, we read where the king, I think it was Solomon, had said the money that they collect from the people, that the people donate to the church, that money is supposed to go towards the people who are building the church. So here, Josiah is doing the right thing by giving this money, using this money that they have collected from the Benjaminites and the Simeonites and the others to pay the people who were working on rebuilding the house of the Lord. Verse 11, even to the artificers and builders gave they it to buy hewn stone and timber for couplings, and to floor the houses which the kings of Judah had destroyed. And the men did the work faithfully, and the overseers of them were Johath and Obadiah, the Levites of the sons of Merari, and Zechariah, and Meshullam of the sons of the Kohathites, to set it forward, and other of the Levites, all that could skill of instruments of music. Welcome into the live, guys. Thank you all so much for coming into the live. I sincerely appreciate you all. We are currently reading the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 34. For those of you who are just coming in, get your book Bible or your Google Bible and follow along. Wait, the background is a little bit too dead. A little bit too quiet. What do you think, guys? There we go. All right, that's good enough. That's too loud. All right, Joe, what's up? Joseph, what's up? What you doing? Good morning to you, my love. Good morning to you. Good to see you, Joe. You're up early. Early to bed, early to rise. Make a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Verse 13. No, this kind of sound too loud. This kind of sound a little bit too loud. Okay, that's good enough. All right, that's good enough. Let us continue on to verse 13 of the book of 2 Chronicles. Also, they were over the bearers of burdens, and were overseers of all that wrought the work in any manner of service. And of the Levites, there were scribes and officers and porters. And when they brought out the money that was brought into the house of the Lord, Hilkiah the priest found a book of the law of the Lord given by Moses. And Hilkiah answered and said to Shaphan the scribe, I have found the book of the law in the house of the Lord. And Hilkiah delivered the book to Shaphan. And Shaphan carried the book to the king and brought, now this king that he brought the book to is going to be Josiah. Okay? And Shaphan carried the book to the king and brought the king word back again, saying, all that was committed to thy servants, they do it. And they have gathered together the money that was found in the house of the Lord, and have delivered it into the hand of the overseers, and to the hand of the workmen. Then Shaphan the scribe told the king, saying, Hilkiah the priest hath given me a book. And Shaphan read it before the king. And it came to pass, when the king had heard the words of the law, that he rent his clothes. And the king commanded Hilkiah, and Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, and Abdon, the son of Micah, and Shaphan the scribe, and Azariah, a servant of the king's, saying, Go, enquire of the Lord for me, and for them that are left in Israel and in Judah, concerning the words of the book that is found. For great is the wrath of the Lord that is poured out upon us, because our fathers have not kept the word of the Lord to do after all that is written in this book. So here, Shaphan has brought that book. Hilkiah found the book, gave it to Shaphan. Shaphan has brought this book to Josiah, and Josiah, having read the book, he's sending to call all the Israelites. Say, come on now, look at this. Look at this. This is the book that our forefathers had gotten. This is the book of the law for them to obey. We have not been obeying. Now it's time for us to obey. It's time for us to return to the ways of our forefathers. Let's see if they're going to be successful. Yes, Joe, I know, I know. I sincerely appreciate you, my love. I sincerely appreciate you. And everybody else that's in the chat, thank you all so much for coming. Verse 22 of chapter 34 of the book of 2nd Chronicles. And Hilkiah and they that the king had appointed went to Huldah. Oh, this we see the name Huldah again. Then Huldah is still alive from the time when I saw her name. Went to Huldah the prophetess. Huldah the prophetess, the wife of Shalom, the son of Tikvah, the son of Hasrah, keeper of the wardrobe. Now she dwelt in Jerusalem in the college, and they spake to her to that effect. And she answered them, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, Tell he the man that sent you to me. Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will bring evil upon this place, and upon the inhabitants thereof, even all the curses that are written in the book, which they have read before the king of Judah. Andrea, is that you? Good morning, Andrea. How are you doing, my love? Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome. Verse 25 of chapter 34 of the book of 2nd Chronicles. Because they have forsaken me, and have burnt incense unto other gods, that they might provoke me to anger with all the works of their hands. Therefore my wrath shall be poured out upon this place, and shall not be quenched. And as for the king of Judah, who sent you to enquire of the Lord, so shall he say unto him, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, concerning the words which thou hast heard. Verse 27. Because thine heart was tender, and thou didst humble thyself before God, when thou heardest his words against this place, and against the inhabitants thereof, and humblest thyself before me, and didst rend thy clothes, and weep before me, I have even heard thee also, said the Lord. Verse 28. Behold, I will gather thee to thy fathers, and thou shalt be gathered to thy grave in peace. Neither shall thine eyes see all the evil that I will bring upon this place, and upon the inhabitants of the same. So they brought the king word again. Then the king sent and gathered together all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem. And the king went up into the house of the Lord, and all the men of Judah, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and the priests, and the Levites, and all the people, great and small. And he read in their ears all the words of the book of the covenant that was found in the house of the Lord. And the king stood in his place, and made a covenant before the Lord, to walk after the Lord, and to keep his commandments, and his testimonies, and his statutes with all his heart, and with all his soul, to perform the words of the covenant which are written in this book. So here we see Josiah is so determined to praise the God of his fathers. He is so determined. He has read this book that Hilkiah has found in the temple. He has read it, and based on the contents of it, Josiah has called everybody together to say, come, this is the book which we shall be reading. This is the book whose contents we shall be following, because it has all the commandments and the precepts and the covenants and the judgments of the Lord our God. So, this is the book that we will be following. And this book, my friends, was the book of Moses, the book that included Moses' laws. And we know from having read the Bible that those laws were so many, the people couldn't keep up. They had to be sacrificing animals day and night. 24 hours a day, they were sacrificing animals. Peace, animals for peace offering, animals for all kinds of transgressions. And the transgressions were many. Let us continue with verse 32. And he caused all that were present in Jerusalem and Benjamin to stand to it. And the inhabitants of Jerusalem did according to the covenant of God, the God of their fathers. Verse 33, and this is the last verse of chapter 34. And Josiah took away all the abominations out of all the countries that pertained to the children of Israel, and made all that were present in Israel to serve, even to serve the Lord their God. And all his days they departed not from following the Lord, the God of their fathers. Here ends the reading of 2 Chronicles chapter 34. Now we see in chapter 34 where Josiah is very determined to serve the God of his fathers. And he has called all the men from the countries round about that are under Jerusalem, that are under Judah's control. He has called them to come on in, and let's read the Bible, and let's serve the God of our fathers. Now let's move on to chapter 35. Guys, follow me in your book Bible or your Google Bible, and make your notes. Hold on. Okay. All right, let us continue. Chapter 35 of the book of 2nd Chronicles. Moreover, Josiah kept a Passover unto the Lord in Jerusalem, and they killed, they killed the Passover on the 14th day of the first month. I don't think that should be killed. I think kept. Sound like kept would be a better word. And they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the first month. And he set the priests in their charges and encouraged them to the service of the house of the Lord, and said unto the Levites that taught all Israel, which were holy unto the Lord, put the holy ark in the house which Solomon the son of David, king of Israel, did build. It shall not be a burden upon your shoulders. Serve now the Lord your God and his people Israel. And prepare yourselves by the houses of your fathers, after your courses, according to the writing of David, king of Israel, and according to the writing of Solomon, his son. And stand in the holy place, according to the divisions of the families of the fathers of your brethren, the people, and after the division of the families of the Levites. Verse 6. So kill the Passover. Kill? I'm not sure. So kill the Passover and sanctify yourselves and prepare your brethren, that they may do according to the word of the Lord by the hand of Moses. And Josiah gave to the people of the flock lambs and kids, all for the Passover offerings, for all that were present, to the number of 30,300 bullocks. These were of the king's substance. Wow. 30,300 bullocks. I can imagine many people have all these animals. Can you imagine the environment? They have 30,000 animals, 30,000 animals pooping and smelling up the place. OMG. Let us continue. Verse 8. And his princes gave willingly unto the people, to the priests, and to the Levites, Hilkiah and Zechariah and Jael, rulers of the house of God, gave unto the priests for the Passover offering 2,600 small cattle and 300 oxen. Now Conaniah also, and Shemaiah, and Nathaniel his brethren, and Hashabiah, and Jael, and Jozabad, chief of the Levites, gave unto the Levites for Passover offerings 5,000 small cattle and 500 oxen. So the service was prepared, and the priests stood in their places, and the Levites in their courses, according to the king's commandments. And they killed the Passover. I know why they keep using the word kill, I'm not sure. And they killed the Passover, and the priests sprinkled the blood from their hands, and the Levites flayed them. So the Levites were the ones who were preparing these animals for the sacrifice. And they removed the burnt offerings, that they might give according to the divisions of the families of the people, to offer unto the Lord, as it is written in the book of Moses. And so did they with the oxen. Because remember, guys, all these other kings before Josiah, you realize that they had cut out the kind of sacrifice that Moses used to do. I didn't see them doing this kind of sacrifice of multitudes of animals. So now Josiah is reviving that tradition where he's slaying several, like many hundreds, thousands of animals. He's slaying for the people's sacrifice. Verse 13. And they roasted the Passover with fire according to the ordinance. But the other holy offerings sawed they in pots, and in cauldrons, and in pans, and divided them speedily among all the people. They better divide them speedily, or else they're going to spoil this whole heap of this whole heap of animal that they're sacrificing. Of course, yes, they better do it speedily. And it's down there in the desert where the heat is going to spoil this meat pretty fast. Verse 14. And afterward they made ready for themselves and for the priests, because the priests, the sons of Aaron, were busied in offering of burnt offerings and the fat until night. Therefore the Levites prepared for themselves and for the priests, the sons of Aaron. And the singers, the sons of Asaph, were in their place, according to the commandment of David, and Asaph, and Heman, and Jeduthun, and Jeduthun, the king's seer. All right, this is another seer here we are coming across here. And the porters waited at every gate, they might not depart from their service, for their brethren, the Levites, prepared for them. Welcome into the live, everybody. Thank you all for coming. Don't forget to hit the like button once you come into the live. Share out the live, invite your friends to come on over. I appreciate you all so much, my friends. Let us continue reading. We are on 2 Chronicles chapter 35 and verse 16. So all the service of the Lord was prepared the same day to keep the Passover and to offer burnt offerings upon the altar of the Lord, according to the commandment of King Josiah. And the children of Israel that were present kept the Passover at that time, and the feast of unleavened bread 7 days. And there was no Passover like to that kept in Israel from the days of Samuel the prophet. You see what I was telling you? Exactly. It's been a long time that I haven't read about a Passover. And see, they're saying there hasn't been a Passover like this kept in Israel since the days of Samuel the prophet. And that, my friends, is hundreds of years ago. Let us continue. Neither did all the kings of Israel keep such a Passover as Josiah kept, and the priests, and the Levites, and all Judah and Israel that were present, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. In the 18th year of the reign of Josiah was this Passover. So Josiah kept this Passover in the 18th year of his reign. And remember, he was 8 when he started to reign. But so by this time, he was like 26. After all this, when Josiah had prepared the temple, Necho, king of Egypt, oh gosh, somebody's coming up again. Necho, king of Egypt, came up to fight against Carchemish by Euphrates, and Josiah went out against him. Okay, so Necho actually came up. Necho came from Egypt to fight. Wait, I'm just writing this down here, guys. To fight with CHRONICLES of Euphrates. And Josiah went out against him, but he sent ambassadors to him, saying, What have I to do with thee, thou king of Judah? I came not against thee this day, but against the house wherewith I have war. For God commanded me to make haste. Forbear, forbear thee from meddling with God, who is with me, that he destroy thee not. So here, this king Nico, Nico is threatening, sort of threatening Josiah, saying, Josiah, why are you coming to fight with me? Is that you I come up here to fight with? I come up here to fight with Karshemish because he's the person I have war with. I don't have any war with you. So now that you are coming into the fight, do you think the God that has sent me to fight with Karshemish, do you think this God is going to spare you? Verse 22. Nevertheless, Josiah would not turn his face from him, but disguised himself that he might fight with him, and hearkened not unto the words of Necho from the mouth of God, and came to fight in the valley of Megiddo. And the archers shot at King Josiah. And the king said to his servants, Have me away, for I am sore wounded. OMG. His servants therefore took him out of that chariot and put him in the second chariot that he had, and they brought him to Jerusalem, and he died, and was buried in one of the sepulchres of his fathers, and all Judah and Jerusalem mourned for Josiah. Now, guys, for those of you who have been following the reading, you all remember that Josiah's forefather, Ahaziah, remember he had disguised himself as well. He had disguised himself as well and gone into the battle. And a bow, an arrow, hit him, and he laid in the chariot and bled 2 days and bled to death. Now here Josiah went into this war as well, and the same thing happened to him. But something is not right here, so you know why something isn't right, guys? Unless they kind of mix up the story, because Josiah started ruling at 8. They said Josiah ruled for 31 years, which means 31 and 8 means he was 39 when he died. However, right here it is saying that he went up to this war on the 18th year of his reign. 18 and 8 no reach 39 yet. The math ain't mathing with these people's math in the Bible, you know. Yeah, their math ain't mathing at all. But anywho, let us continue reading. Verse 25 of chapter 35 of the book of 2 Chronicles. Now Josiah is dead, and Jeremiah lamented for Josiah, and all the singing men and the singing women spake of Josiah in their lamentations to this day. and made them an ordinance in Israel. And behold, they are written in the Lamentations. So the rest of the story about Josiah will be read when we read the book of Lamentations. Let me just make note of it. The rest of his story, the rest of Josiah's story is in Lamentation. Verse 26. Now the rest of the acts of Josiah and his goodness, according to that which was written in the law of the Lord, and his deeds, first and last, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. The amazing M&G is here. The amazing M&G. M&G. M&G, what's up? How are you doing, my love? How are you doing? So good to see you. Mr. You are sexy off in your sexy shots. In your sexy shots. I look by your turmeric with yard foods gear and your rosemary. Yeah, me see you out there, Sister M&G. Nothing me not see you, me see you. How you doing this morning, my love? I hope you're having a great morning. All right. So now we are going to continue. Well, Josiah didn't live a long time. He died. So now we are going to continue the reading of chapter 36 of the book of 2nd Chronicles. And chapter 36 is actually the last chapter. 2nd Chronicles chapter 36. Then the people of the land took Jehoahaz, the son of Josiah, and made him king in his father's stead in Jerusalem. And his name was Jehoahaz. Jehoahaz. God, what's up? God, how are you doing? Verse 36, chapter 36 again. Then the people of the land took Jehoahaz, the son of Josiah, and made him king in his father's stead in Jerusalem. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months. Jehoahaz was 23 when he started to reign, and he reigned for 3 months. Wow, what a short reign. And the king of Egypt put him down at Jerusalem. So this king of Egypt, is it this same Necho? And the king of Egypt put him down at Jerusalem and condemned the land in 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. And the king of Egypt made Eliakim his brother. Wow. And the king of Egypt made Eliakim his brother king over Judah and Jerusalem, and turned his name to Jehoiakim. And Necho took Jehoahaz his brother and carried him to Egypt. We have to read that again, people. We definitely have to read that again. Then the people of the land took Jehoahaz, the son of Josiah, and made him king in his father's stead in Jerusalem. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned for 3 months in Jerusalem. And the king and in Egypt this time was Necho. And the king Necho of Egypt put him down at Jerusalem. We got to read some more to see that put down meant slew him. And condemned the land in 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. And the king of Egypt made Eliakim, his brother, king over Judah and Jerusalem, and turned his name to Jehoiakim. Okay, so his name was Eliakim, and he changed the name to Jehoiakim. And Necho took Jehoahaz, his brother, and carried him to Egypt. And he took Jehoahaz, his brother. His whose brother? Hold on. And the king of Egypt made Eliakim, his brother, king over Judah and Jerusalem. All right, so Eliakim was the king's brother, or was Eliakim Jehoahaz's brother? Let's continue reading. We will find out. This is sometimes how the Bible constructs its sentences, and that can sometimes cause some confusion. So let's read verse 4. And the king of Egypt made Eliakim, his brother, king over Judah and Jerusalem, and turned his name to Jehoiakim. And Necho took Jehoahaz, his brother, and carried him to Egypt. Now Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. So this now was an Egyptian king, wasn't it? Being appointed in Israel, being appointed to be king of Israel. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned for 11 years in Jerusalem, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. Against him came up Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Okay. Against him came up Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and bound him in fetters to carry him to Babylon. Remember, that's the same thing that happened to Manasseh. Now, Nebuchadnezzar also carried off the vessels of the house of the Lord to Babylon, and put them in his temple at Babylon. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim and his abominations which he did, and that which was found in him, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. And Jehoiakim, his son, reigned in his stead. Okay, so Jehoiakim reigned in the stead of Jehoiakim. So the father was Jehoiakim. That's the same person whose name Necho changed from Eliakim. So Necho changed the name from Eliakim to Jehoiakim. And he was brought down into Babylon by Nebuchadnezzar. and his son Jehoiachin, Jehoiachin, I might say Jehoiachin, reigned in his stead. Now, verse 9. Jehoiachin was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned for 3 months and 10 days. 3 months and 10 days in Jerusalem, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. But he was only 8 years old. And he was only 8 years old. And when the year was expired, King Nebuchadnezzar sent and brought him to Babylon with the goodly vessels of the house of the Lord, and made Zedekiah his brother king over Judah and Jerusalem. Now Zedekiah was 21 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 11 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God, and humbled not himself before Jeremiah the prophet, speaking from the mouth of the Lord. And he also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him swear by God. But he stiffened his neck and hardened his heart from turning unto the Lord God of Israel. Moreover, all the chief of the priests and the people transgressed very much after all the abominations of the heathen, and polluted the house of the Lord which he had hallowed in Jerusalem. And the Lord God of their fathers sent to them by his messengers, rising up betimes, and sending, because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place. But they mocked the messengers of God, and despised his words, and misused his prophets, until the wrath of the Lord arose against his people, till there was no remedy. Therefore he brought upon them the king of the Chaldees, who slew their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary, and had no compassion upon young man or maiden, old man, or him that stooped for age. He gave them all into his hand. OMG. Another slaughtering, sparing no one. Verse 18. And all the vessels of the house of God, great and small, and the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king, and of the princes, all these he brought to Babylon. And they burnt the house of God, and brake down the wall of Jerusalem, and burnt all the palaces thereof with fire, and destroyed all the godly vessels thereof. Verse 20. And them that had escaped from the sword carried he away to Babylon, where they were servants to him and his sons, until the reign of the kingdom of Persia. Now, remember in that book that we read on this foundation? Yes, the establishment of the king of Persia. Remember the king Artaxerxes? He was the one who had sent Nehemiah to go rebuild the city of Jerusalem. All right. Verse 21. To fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths, for as long as she lay desolate. For as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath, to fulfill 60 and 10 years. That's 70 years. Now, in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the king of the Lord spoken by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished. The Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Thus said Cyrus, king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth hath the Lord God of heaven given me. That's what Cyrus say. And he hath charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Who is there among you of all his people? The Lord his God be with him, and let him go up. This is the end of the reading of Second Chronicles chapter 36, and that is the end of the reading of the book of Second Chronicles. Now we have seen where all the kings of the tribe of David have risen up, some good, some wicked. The ones that are wicked, we see how the people the people of Judah paid the hefty price for their wickedness, and those who were good, like Ezekiah, we saw where the people prospered under their reign. But Israel just seems to never be able to get a break. As soon as they have one king that is considered good, then his successor becomes an evil person who caused lots of destruction to befall the children of Israel. And with all the sufferation that the children of Israel have been going through, being unable to maintain a steady society with consistency, I keep wondering if those were black people. I keep wondering because for all the struggle and the sufferation, as soon as they rebuild the city and the city starts to prosper, then here come an enemy come burn down the whole city, just like Black Wall Street. And so as soon as they start to look like they start to prosper, here comes somebody to burn down their city and take them captive and send them down to a foreign land to go be slaves. And I keep wondering, are these black people? Might be, could be, you know. But we are going to continue reading, and as we read, we hope to get some more insight into what went on back then, who did what, when, where, and why. Okay? Our cat say no. Okay, cat say that's what I keep saying. Yeah, it seems like it. Like, we cannot catch a break, man. Can't catch a break. As soon as you think you do something good, it get wiped out. I tell you, my friends. But that, my dears, that is going to be the end of the reading for today. When we come back tomorrow, we will start the reading. We had read the book of Ezra before, but we are going to be reading the book of Ezra again. Because remember, we are going in order as we read the Bible. And that's going to be it from me for this morning, my friends. Once again, I want to say thanks to each and every one of you who came into the live. Thanks to those of you who commented, those of you who are in the chat, keeping the chat alive. I sincerely appreciate you all. I hope you all are enjoying the reading of the Bible as much as I am enjoying bringing it to you, my friends. All right, and that's going to be it from me for this morning. Until next time, my friends. This is Trev from Treversons, where your journey matters. I'll see you all later or tomorrow. Yeah, maybe later. All right, guys. So have yourselves a great day, everybody. Peace.